And a very pleasant good morning to you on another Selection Saturday. It's the Selection Saturday Kickoff Show brought to you on Facebook and YouTube. And it's yours truly, Brandon Rutherman, bringing it all to you. The lanyards are about to get wrapped around my neck. Let's see how many we got to work with today. 27. 27 game picks, and we are not going to waste any time. We're going to get it all started right here, right now. Notre Dame and Clemson. Dabo Swinney, I believe, has lost his team. First, he throws his quarterback under the bus, and then he throws a fan under the bus. Notre Dame. In Death Valley. Over Clemson. 12 noon kick. Clemson doesn't play its best football at high noon. They're usually more or less predicated towards prime time, prime time. Meanwhile, Arkansas, Florida, Arkansas. And a Lanyard just hit the floor. Which one? We'll find out. There might be two Lanyards. I don't know. But I suppose, with whatever Lanyard that just fell, it's a microcosm of Arkansas's season. They lose today. They will not be on the helmet tree this year as far as bowl eligibility goes, but they do get a consolation prize in the whiteout. Nevertheless, Arkansas's fate may have been predestined. Florida's just as much predestined in the fact that a win today will put them in bowl eligibility. And they ain't backing down now. Taking Florida over Arkansas. Which one fell down? It's Wisconsin. So we'll go ahead and wrap this around because it's, Wisconsin's playing Indiana today, and it's in Bloomington. So we're taking Wisconsin. Pretty much a no-brainer there. Nebraska and Michigan State. Well, under normal circumstances, I take Michigan State, but with all the problems they've undergone, and when you add to the fact that Nebraska's Matt Rule has turned the program around, and he is known for doing this, Nebraska in the college football postseason are going to greet each other with open arms. A win today will give the Huskers the bowl eligibility that Huskers fans have been long and suffering for. Go Big Red. Take care of business. Nebraska over Michigan State, which now brings us to the Ohio State Buckeyes visiting Rutgers. You guys know how much I love Rutgers. They pretty much, in essence, took the place of Northwestern as my fourth team behind West Virginia, Alabama, and Oregon. Well, there are others, There are others. I mean, I could probably give you a top 10, maybe. But Rutgers already bowl eligible. The way I figured, hey, it's okay to lose now. You're going to a bowl game. Ohio State, we pretty much know the story with the Buckeyes. They have passed all the necessary tests necessary to put themselves in the conversation for the college football playoff. They are number one in the rankings right now. And that's not about to change. Going with Ohio State over Rutgers. I still love you, Rutgers. Just not today. Which now brings us to Texas A&M and Ole Miss. It's like choosing the lesser of two evils. I've taken A&M in games, I've taken Ole Miss in games, and now I got to choose between Lane Kiffin and Jimbo Fisher. Well, I would rather see Jimbo Fisher get his ass canned. So, Ole Miss, I can't see you in the CFP. If anything, you're probably going to get a New Year's Day bowl game out of the whole deal. We're just not sure where it is, where it's going to be, who it's going to be against. But indications are that everything is on the up and up for the Ole Miss Rebels. Now we got, come on. There we go. Texas hosting Kansas State. All right, all right, all right. Both are bowl eligible. Texas is at home. Sounds like a no-brainer to me. Georgia Tech and Virginia. If Georgia Tech can beat Miami, if Georgia Tech can beat North Carolina, then I see no reason why they don't go into Charlottesville today and win one on the road. But I'm going to throw caution into the wind here. Virginia is a lot more revived now with everything that's gone on off the field. The fans are loving football again, and rightfully so. If Virginia is to win today, it'll be one based on emotion, inspiration, and everything that comes with it. However, I am going to take Georgia Tech, as much as I hate to, but I understand the significance of it on the Virginia side. Georgia Tech, meanwhile, is good for a sneaky win here and a sneaky win there. And this could be one of those games where, you come off of some emotional highs in your own right and you find yourself falling victim of the proverbial hangover. Nevertheless, I'm still going to take Georgia Tech on the road at Virginia. UCF at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's quest for any kind of a win in the Big 12 has fallen flat, and the Cats have been declawed. I don't see a bowl bid in your future, but you do get a consolation prize. You're going to be on the Helmet Tree Whiteout. And by the way, as I wrap this Central Florida lanyard around my neck, there will be a special roll call edition for the Helmet Tree Whiteout. And I'm not sure as to when it's going to be done. We're just waiting on Christmas lights. Battery-operated Christmas lights. New lights for the tree this year. But Cincinnati is a part of it, as will be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 112 to 114 teams. So we got all of that to look forward to. Meanwhile, let's move on with the picks. We got Louisville and Virginia Tech. And Virginia Tech is on the road this week against Louisville. Jeff Brom looking to try to take his Cardinals to the next step in the journey, which could potentially mean I'm not sure on my divisions in the ACC. But you have to figure they have to be, at the very least, in the conversation for the ACC championship. And in all likelihood, it'll be against Florida State. For now, though, they must focus on the task at hand this afternoon as they host the Hokies. And Louisville, I think, has more than enough to work with to get the job done. So we're going to take Louisville in that one. Penn State and Maryland. This is why I'm so happy Maryland went back to the 80s red helmets. Even though I'm not taking Maryland, I'm taking Penn State. It's old school independent football. Now, whether or not they'll rock those lids today, I don't know. But it does bring back memories. Mid-80s. I don't remember so much about who Penn State had back in those days, pre-Fiesta Bowl against Miami. Although there probably were some players from the mid-80s teams that played on that Fiesta Bowl winning, national championship winning Penn State team. Maryland, of course, was moving on from the days of Boomer Esiason and Frank Reich. Those names should ring a bell if you know your football like I do. They had a quarterback named Stan Gelbaugh and the 1-2 punch of Alvin Blunt and Rich Badonic. And Maryland back then, I think, probably had and still had the best team of the time. If I remember correctly, they were a top 10 team when they played Penn State one year, and I think that was 1985. Anyway, enough of the history lessons. On to the next pick. We got Illinois and Minnesota. Oh, it pains me to have to pick between two teams that I like a good bit. There's always a lot to like in the Big Ten. I'm not sure on the records, but I think Minnesota is a step closer. It may get it today, I think. I'm not sure if the records speak for it. In fact, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and look it up. I don't have I got to go through the cheat sheet channel, trying to find. If you can just bear with me for a moment, trying to find the game in question, and I know it's here. I'm getting warmer. Yes, Minnesota with a win today against Illinois will be bowl eligible, so I'm taking the Gophers. Oh, Illinois, I feel for you. If you lose today, you're going to be 3-6 and will probably be you're going to have to win out to try to claim bowl eligibility, and I don't know if there's a game left on the schedule that's going to, help them any. Indiana might, maybe not Iowa, and maybe not Northwestern. I'm not sure that Illinois is, it's going to take something special. Brett Bielema is going to have to pull a few rabbits out of the hat to kind of even things out. Today, however, it's Minnesota's time. PJ Fleck, hell of a coach, the emotional leader of the Gophers. They'll get the job done. Speaking of emotions, there's going to be bedlam. Lots and lots of bedlam. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State getting it on in Stillwater today. And if I may take a quote from Mike Gundy, the head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowboys, Oklahoma leaving for the SEC ended bedlam. Now, having that been said, if I'm Oklahoma State, you kick their asses. Capiche? Taking Oklahoma State over Oklahoma in that one. The only game of the weekend where the winner gets a bowl bid, BYU and West Virginia. Well, guess who I'm picking? Yeah, this is a no-brainer for me, no matter how much breakdown the game deserves to be broken down on. I am not going to go down that road. Not in the least. I'm taking West Virginia. That's it. That's all. Get it done. Kansas, Iowa State. These games are always tricky. Every time there's a game on the schedule at Iowa State and a ranked team comes to town, more often than not, Iowa State wins. And Iowa State is actually favored today to beat Kansas, who is the number 21 team in the country. Now, after coming off of that upset win against Oklahoma last week, I always have this fear after such a gigantic win that there will be a hangover effect. But you know something? Kansas has worked way too hard to let this slip. I am taking Kansas. I am taking Kansas to beat Iowa State. Iowa State, though, if they win today, and I'm just going to try to make sure that I have my facts checked here. Am I going to be able to find it? I know it's here. 7 o'clock kick, by the way. Iowa State, with a win today, would be bowl eligible. They got another chance. They got 3 games left. They can get a win elsewhere. Just not today. Meanwhile, out in the Mountain West, we have Utah State and San Diego State. I suppose I should look at those records while the getting's good. And the records may not be all that promising. In fact, both are 3-5. This is a tough one. But the way I figured it's like this, the bottom, I think, fell out on San Diego State when they lost to Nevada a couple weeks ago, 6-0. And besides, I like Utah State a little bit more. I don't think there's going to be a bowl bid for either of those teams, but this is pretty much as close to an elimination game as you get for a game involving a couple of 3-5 teams. So we're going to go ahead and take Utah State on the road to beat San Diego State. Purdue and Michigan. I'm holding up a sign. Will you steal it? I should hold up my index cards and tell you which games to pick. Aha. I didn't check them off. They're just games. It's Michigan over Purdue. Purdue's season shot to high hell this year. And I could have told you guys that a long time ago. Hudson Card was never the answer. And so too, I think, probably could be said for the fact that, you got a first-year head coach running the show that Jeff Brom left behind. NC State hosting Miami. Well, guess what? NC State's going bowling. And my helmet guy is going to be dancing a jig. That much I want to think is going to be true. So, that now leaves us with Oregon State and Colorado. Brando, my man, you picking the Buffaloes? Yes, Prime, I'm picking the Buffaloes. I am picking your Buffaloes. And I'll tell you why, because Oregon State, even though they're favored, they're reeling. I would much rather somebody just add to the punishment rather than have them get up and try to fight. I mean, Colorado, where is it? Where is it? That's a 10 o'clock kick. Why do I get the feeling that game's going to go into overtime tonight? Colorado's 4-4, and if they somehow find themselves in a knockdown, drag-out, multi-overtime affair, well, turning your clocks back tonight ain't going to help matters. So, going to go with Colorado. As much as I hate to, they're playing Oregon State anyway. I'm going to go ahead and take Colorado. Thank you, my man. Arizona hosting UCLA. And it's a gigantic game for Arizona because a win tonight against the bowl-bound Bruins means bowl eligibility, means helmet tree eligibility, means they will get it done. I'm taking the Cats over the Bruins. And now we come to the point where we take all of these lanyards off as we now dive in. Oh my goodness, I skipped a couple games. Do I put the lanyards back on? Oh, I missed a couple games. Pardon me. Wow. This is why you leave them out the day before. So here we go. James Madison against Georgia Southern. The battle for respect continues. JMU on the road. And this is an easy one here. Although there's a part of me in the back of my mind that's thinking if an upset could come today, it would have to come at Pitt. They're hosting Florida State. Yeah, we know Pitt beat Louisville. But you're going up against the number 4 team in the country. Florida State's not losing this one. That's all for that. Now we get down to the business. Oh, before I forget, got to make sure I have 3 extra lanyards. I'm going to do something special here in a moment, but we got 5 big ones to pick from. And this time around, we have included, again, for the second week in a row, 2 FCS games, one in which involves the number 2 Florida. What's the old Bob Ross line? We don't make mistakes, we just have happy accidents. I don't think Florida merged with Furman. That would be so wrong on so many levels. Anyway, I did it again. Furman. The number 2 Furman Paladins visiting a school that I have not picked a game from ever in any year, in any form. The Mocs of Chattanooga, who are number 13 in the country. This is the first game I'm picking that involves the Chattanooga Mocs, if you can believe it. And it's going to be the first loss for Chattanooga, I'm afraid. I am taking the Paladins on the road in Chattanooga. Furman will more than likely end up in the FCS playoffs. Probably will be among the top 8 seeds that will get in to the FCS playoffs. And another one joining them potentially is the number 3 team in the country in FCS, the Montana Grizzlies, hosting the Sacramento, what the heck? I don't even remember the team's name. Sacramento State. The number 7 team in the country, Sacramento State. Well, I'll tell you something. I am taking Montana. I'm taking the Grizzlies because everything is going to start to shape up for their big sky rivalry between the Grizzlies and the Montana State Bobcats. Should be a lot of fun for everybody involved in the state of Montana. I'm sure the entire state's going to shut down for that one. So, heck yeah. Bring me some snow, will you please? We got a tree to put up. Back to the FBS in a very important Pac-12 game against a couple teams that I really wish wouldn't play against each other at this point in the year, but it's Washington and USC. USC, first of all, should not be ranked, period. Washington, they earned the right to be where they are behind the arm of Michael Penix, but today, in a shootout that would probably give the scoreboard operator at the Coliseum carpal tunnel, you got Michael Penix, you got Caleb Williams, you got a shootout in the offing. But most importantly is that if USC beats Washington, it opens the door for Oregon. You better get the job done. Otherwise, I am going to tear open a few new ones. Okay, enough of the dramatic effect. Georgia's hosting Missouri this afternoon in Athens. Finally, the entire nation will get to see Brady Cook. And the Missouri Tigers look to build on what has been, by and large, they're probably the best season that I can recall since the days of Chase Daniel. But you're going in between the hedges. And I don't think you're coming out of there alive. With that being said, I'm taking Georgia. And one day I'm going to have to learn Georgia on my mind. But I'll tell you this too. The last game of the slate, we have, I almost said Georgia again, Alabama hosting LSU tonight. This is a no-brainer for me. It was just a matter of trying to find the appropriate lanyard. And being that it is the salute to services all this month, I believe. We break out the camo. it would please me greatly if Alabama beats up on LSU so bad that Brian Kelly doesn't coach again. Roll! Tide! Roll! We're not done. We are not done. Considering that I just broke out the Alabama camo, considering that I just, I'm sporting Oregon Duck camo, and oh, by the way, not pictured a W&J camo hoodie. W&J today playing at Geneva this afternoon, and I am taking W&J. It does count to my overall record since it's on television. Pittsburgh CW, for those of you watching, you can watch it there, or you can go to kdka.com and catch the live stream of the game. Considering the camo theme, I think it's only fair and fitting that I do my due diligence, my favorite term of the year, do my due diligence and pay homage to Army. To the Naval Academy, into the United States Air Force. For those who have served, who are currently serving and about to serve, thank you all for everything that you do, that you've done and will continue to do to preserve the peace that we know is ours. Thank you, and God bless the troops. That is going to do it for this edition of the Selection Saturday Kickoff Show. Once again, a subtle reminder, there will be an official roll call telecast. Well, maybe not a telecast in a telecast sense, but there will be an official Helmet Tree Whiteout roll call coming up in the not-too-distant future. Until then, have yourselves a great one and enjoy your college football Saturday, everybody.